What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's Saturday evening here in Findlay, Ohio. I'm hanging out in the garage, getting ready to have a beer with Big Loki, the attack cat. I gave him some catnip. He's hiding over here somewhere. Hopefully he'll come out and join us and jump into his chair. Usually if it's just he and I, He'll sit out here and hang out while I drink a beer, but you know, once I put the iPad on, I think he gets a little worried and runs away. Anyway, the beer I have today is called Maltings Irish Ale. This is from Sullivan's Brewing Company. This is a brewery I'd heard nothing about. If you watch the unboxing video the other day, my friend Pete sent this out to me, and I was kind of thrilled to see it. You know, as much as Ireland gets a reputation for being a big beer consuming and, you know, a big beer country, you really don't hear much about it. I mean, you see Guinness, you see those kind of Irish beers that were out at Aldi, but none of them were particularly very good. You really don't hear anything about the craft scene in Ireland. Now, this beer is allegedly part of the craft scene. Now, again, I know very little about brewing in Ireland other than the macros and the ones that we see here in the U.S. regularly. So maybe this isn't a microbrewery. Maybe, you know, what I've read is incorrect, but I'd never heard of it, so I was super hyped to see it. So again, Sullivan's Brewing Company, Maltings Irish Ale, batch brewed and hand packed in Ireland. Brewing is in our blood. So this is out of Maltings, Kilkenny, Ireland. Now, when I went to the website to read about it, because I knew nothing about this brewery, you saw some really interesting stuff. It looks like this brewery started in the 1700s, and then again, you know, this might be legend or fable. Around 1918, the owner of the brewery was in France, gambling on some horse races, trying to impress I guess a French noble woman or something like this. So he wound up, I guess, gambling away a fortune, had to sell the brewery, closed down. Now, again, according to the website, in 2016 it came back. I believe it said with members of the Smithwick's family. I don't know if it's the same family of Smithwick's brewery. I mean, I think they're both from Kilkenny, so it'd be pretty odd if it was a random other Smithwick's family from Kilkenny. But apparently they got together with the descendants of the Sullivans and created this brewing company. Sounds like a cool story. To me, what that reads as the Smithwick's macro brewery heard about this story, thought if they recreate the Sullivan's brand of beer under the Sullivan's name, bring in the great-great-grandson of Sullivan, you know, you can pass it off as a craft beer. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but, you know, that's just kind of my initial thought on this. You know, I've fallen for things that are branded as craft beers before. I know Sam Adams has done this, Bud and Coors, you know, Anheuser, Busch, Coors, all these folks. They brand these beers and you think it's something new, a craft beer, and then lo and behold, it's some subsidiary of, you know, one of the evil empire type breweries. I hope it's not the case, but, you know, look, man, I worked in law enforcement. I'm a professor. My instinct kicks in and says, this story sounds a bit fishy. So from 1918 to 2016, for 100 years, nobody cared, and all of a sudden, somebody jumped in. Hey, is what it is. All right, we have a little bit of a blurb here. Maltings Red Ale. Enjoy the canned version of our Maltings Irish Red, our classic ruby ale with deep malt, combining rich biscuit and gentle caramel notes. Visual, rich ruby color with good foam, aroma, malt, and fruit taste. Balance of blended malt with hop bitterness, good body with a dry finish. Now it says, awarded best draft ale in the world. Our Maltings Red Ale recently won overall category champion at the International Brewing Awards, also known as the Oscars of the beer world. Oscars, eh? Okay. We were the first ever Irish brewery since 1886 to win a championship in a competition that hosted over 1,200 beers from 50 countries. So, you know, it obviously sounds like it's been well received by critics, regardless of who owns the brewery. But you know, again, sounds like a solid beer. It's Irish Red Ale. Now, what's kind of interesting, this one is listed as the limited, the export strength. So I did some checking on other reviews on this, and many of the ones from Ireland look like it comes in at 4%. This one, though, is 5%. So I guess they upped it a little bit for the export market. So 5% is the one that I'm dealing with. Now, as far as ratings, it did pretty well. 3.8 on Untappd, 3.8 on Beer Advocate as well. The overall aggregate review on Beer Advocate was an 83. So overall, pretty solid rating. Let's give it a shot. Go with my Heineken glass today. Again, I'm in the garage. I don't like to take any of the really nice glass around here for fear that I drop it on this concrete floor. All right, still got a little bit in here. Now, let's see what that looks like. Not bad. No. To me, this looks more like a cola kind of color. It's kind of quite dark. As it goes toward the bottom, it gets a little bit lighter. But I really don't. I guess if you hold it to the light, it's a bit of a ruby color. You know, if you hold a Guinness to the light, it looks black to the naked eye. You hold it up, you get a bit of a ruby color, and everybody claims it's ruby. Yeah, it's still black. To me, this would be kind of a dark brown color with maybe a bit of a red hue if you hold it to the light. The foam, probably finger and a half going on 2. Tan colored head. Looks quite clunky, frothy, but it you know, break it up doing that clunky thing in islands, but it looks okay. Smell. Almost went Tony Montana on the head there. Not bad. Malty, a bit caramelly, kind of like we'd expect from a red ale. Taste. Not too bad. Medium bodied. I would say you definitely pick up the malt's the driving force like you kind of expect, but it's kind of like a sweet malt, that caramel type malt. You know, you do pick up a little bit of a light hop presence, but it's just there to kind of counterbalance the malt. Now, this is something that I like. You know, I mean, I guess every beer is kind of this weird combination of kind of sweetness and then hoppiness, and whatever the plus minus is, however it balances is where you find yourself. I would say this is probably 80-20 or more. I mean, this is obviously a lot maltier than it is hoppy, and it's got that nice sweet caramel taste. But you do get a little bit of a hops presence in there to kind of balance it out a bit, so it's not just malt sweetness. It's a nice beer. Nice beer. I can't complain. Like I said, you know, I might have my own thoughts on the brewery, and I could be completely wrong. Whenever I hear like one of those too good to be true stories, I always think, oh, Lord Miller or somebody's behind this, right? So in this case, maybe Smithix is behind it. It doesn't matter. Good beer is good beer. Doesn't matter if it's turned out by a guy around the corner or a billion-dollar corporation. If beer is good, it's good, and I'll say that. And if your beer sucks, it sucks, right? It is what it is. Overall, though, I would say this one, Maltings Irish Red, the limited edition export strength U.S. version. I don't know if I could tell the difference between the 4% or 5%, but the one that we've received here is quite good. I quite like this. I'm thrilled that you sent this out to me, Pete. You know, very thankful. Like I said, you see very few Irish beers on the shelf other than kind of the mainstream beers everybody has. So super excited to give this a shot. Now, one thing should be noted. It says it's served in Kilkenny, Dublin, and Buffalo, New York. So I don't know if they have a facility there, like a brewery, or if they're just importing it through Buffalo and selling it there. But either way, pretty good beer overall, and I would certainly have another one. If you like the videos, you know, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. And again, if you got any comments or questions, if you've had any of the Sullivans beers before, it looks like they make this and a golden ale according to the website. I don't know if they make any others, but they're the only two that I saw. If you've had any of them, let me know what you think of them. For the first one that I've had from this brewery, quite like this, and I'd be interested in trying some more. You know, big thumbs up for the beer, and again, if you like this video, give me the thumbs up. Hey, until next time, have a wonderful weekend. Phillies are playing the Red Sox right now. We ain't doing too well, so I'm hoping for some prayers. Maybe if I drink this beer and go back and watch it, things will have changed and we'll be up. But hey, till next time, cheers.